The Grim Reaper. A black hooded specter who appears when your time on Earth has come to an end. Tasked with guiding the recently deceased to the afterlife, he appears in many different cultures in many different forms. But what do you really know about the Grim Reaper? The Grim Reaper, also called Death, in most cultures, is a benevolent figure who serves to gently sever the last ties between the soul and the body, and to guide the deceased to the afterlife, without having any control over when or how the victim dies. Death is most often personified in male form, although in certain cultures, death is perceived as a female. The Grim Reaper seems to have appeared in Europe during the 14th century. It was during this time that Europe was dealing with what was then the world's worst pandemic, the Black Death, believed to be the result of the plague. It is estimated that about 1/3 of Europe's entire population perished as a result of the pandemic, with some areas of the continent suffering far greater losses than others. More often than not, skeletons are symbolic of the Reaper, representing the human body after it has decayed. The robe is thought to be reminiscent of the robes that religious figures of the time wore when conducting funerary services. The scythe is an apt image taken from agricultural practices of the time. Harvesters used scythes to reap or harvest crops that were ready to be plucked from the earth, much the same as humans when they die, they are plucked from this earth. The Reaper has an important job and special skills to match. His signature, and most mysterious skill is the ability to separate souls from the body. Most stories claim that the mere presence of this specter will begin to draw the soul from the body. With the crook of one bony finger, he can break your bonds to the living world forever. The Grim Reaper is present in other cultures, but not like you and I know him. In Hindu scriptures, the Lord of Death is called King Yama. He is also known as the King of Karmic Justice, as one's karma at death was considered to lead to a just rebirth. Yama rides a black buffalo and carries a rope lasso to lead the soul back to his home. In Christianity, death is one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse portrayed in the book of Revelation, in Revelation 6 verses 7-8. In Greek mythology, Thanatos is said to be the personification of death. He sometimes appears in art as a winged and bearded man, and occasionally as a winged and beardless youth. Thanatos takes the spirit of the deceased to the near shore of the river Styx, where the ferryman Charon conveys the spirit to Hades, the realm of the dead. In Breton folklore, a spectral figure called the Ankou portends death. Usually, the Ankou is the spirit of the last person that died within the community and appears as a tall, haggard figure with a wide hat and long white hair, or a skeleton with a revolving head. The Ankou drives a deathly wagon or cart with a creaking axle. The cart or wagon is piled high with corpses, and a stop at a cabin means instant death for those inside. So, what do you think of the Grim Reaper? Did you learn anything new about him? Drop a comment and let me know. And as always, thank you for watching.